To the village board meeting for January 2020. If everyone could stand for the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll begin with approval of the minutes from the December 17th regular board meeting and January 10th special board meeting. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to those minutes as written? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes as written. Motion trustee Schober, second. Trustee Bendix, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That carries. This month it was trustee Schober's turn to approve payments for the month of January. Trustee Schober, did you find that everything was in order, even Mr. Reynolds' supplement bill?
Sorry.
Right.
Yeah, everything's great. Everything's great.
Does anyone have any questions of trustee Schober? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve payments for the month of January that trustee Schober saw fit. Motion trustee Vermeulen, second trustee Blodgett. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That carries. This time we'd like to acknowledge receipt of the monthly reports from our division managers and thank them for another month's work in the village of Newark. Fire Chief Kevin Bell.
Had a kind of a busy weekend, 2 structure fires. They're both under investigation at this point. No injuries, it's always a good thing. Just want to thank Chief Holmes and your officers for both incidents. They're a big help.
Thanks for having us come out.
Yeah. The Blue Cut Road one was kind of really crappy weather, so it was nice having them there to give us an explanation. Other than that, I gave each of you a year-end report. I know Al likes numbers, so that's basically a breakdown of everything that's occurred this year. And if you have any questions, no injuries or deaths, that's the big thing.
Right. 557 total calls. That's a full year.
Yeah, it's
20 structure fires.
up from last year. Is that number up from last year, the 557?
It's actually down a little bit.
Still really busy.
Yeah. Usually right around 600.
Does anyone have any other questions of Chief Bell? All right, thank you. Up next, Economic Development Code Enforcement, Mark Peak.
All right, for a couple of you that have been meeting, just you can tweet me out for a little while, like this is just with the rest of these letters. So. On West Shore Boulevard for seniors, kidney care, they're putting on addition if anybody's been down there on the east side, they're making additional chairs for that facility there. On East Union Street, Hannah Calls doing approximately $4 million worth of renovations. It's a 2-year project. And they're actually, the women and children that are in there are going to stay in there while we're doing all the renovations. So it's been a lot of stuff trying to coordinate everything with everybody. We've been contacted by the engineer for Bassett Group. They're the ones who are going to develop the multi-family complex up behind Wegmans. They'll have their application into us by February 3rd in hopes of making the March meeting for the planning board for the final site plan approval. These will be market rate apartments there. In the next few weeks, we'll be meeting with Crosstown Construction for the other multi-family complex up behind Lincoln Road. Up where they're doing the single-family houses, they're looking at multi-family complex there. Also, we're currently working with 2 prospects out in our industrial park. We're hoping to make both of those a reality before the year's out right now. Met with the construction manager for IEC, and they're hoping by June they have the office portion of the new building done. With the weather putting back, they would have lost the quarter concrete for the manufacturing facility, and it has 6 degrees after. So with the cold weather, they didn't get it close enough to get that down. But they're hoping to get the other part, and we may even do a temporary steel over the office hoping before we do manufacturing. So that's the goal right now. If anyone's been up there at night, I know you go by there every night, so that's. But anyone else that hasn't been up there, if you take a ride at night, it looks so different now since they took the brush down. You can really see down in there and see the lights, and they're coming back in the spring again to do some more work. So all the fencing's been taken down around the ponds, and if all goes well, there's a couple of Boy Scouts that can do projects and a couple of bridges we put back up, so that's all good. Make it more like a parking area. And just in case anyone doesn't know, the corner tavern's been sold to Tom Collison, so hopefully that'll be open in the near future. Everybody keeps asking about grind on. The latest I have is middle of February, so I don't know if anyone has any more current information. That was information I got last week, so currently that's what I have right now.
Valentine's
They
Day.
said February, the last.
I heard mid-Fed, I'm hoping soon. There's a lot of people are asking about it. Our office did a tour of the hemp facility last Friday. It was pretty interesting. In fact, they had a plan in there, I bet you was 8 foot tall, 7 foot tall. They're actually talking about growing tomatoes in the hemp plant now. Just putting them together and growing tomatoes from the hemp plant, so that's what we need to see. They were down in the Farmers Convention in Syracuse last week. They've got about 200 acres committed so far for this year. The idea would be, if all goes like they planned, that all of the greenhouses would be full. They're up at the end of next year, at the end of this year, with plants being utilized. They cleaned it all out now. If you went in there, you wouldn't recognize it if you were in there when we started. So they're really starting to move some things around. It's good. If anybody knows any farmers or anyone that's interested, they want to be contacted with them. Contact me, we'll get them in contact with them. They're looking for people to grow. They'll help them with the licensing and the growing part of it. So you know if anybody like don't like looking at a different crop. And then last thing, we had 2 properties. If they didn't get cleaned up today, I'm sure it'll be tomorrow. There's one down in South Main Street that's got a big pile of garbage there. For whatever reason, the property owner didn't want to cooperate. We sent them the notice, sent them a violation notice. And we had another one at Church Street with a couch and a mattress and locked in. So DPW's helping us where we need it. So that's all I have on my list for right now. Anybody has any questions? If that helps.
Anyone have
The retail operation that they might have at, Honest,
Yeah.
is that ready or?
Yes, you can go in there now. It's not totally ready, but you can buy it through them at a discounted rate if you went on the internet and bought it. So for local residents, they're trying to help them too. So.
And I saw they had the billboard out by Colburn,
Exactly.
which is nice. And then Hanacall, is that an addition as well as renovation?
There's additions. There's several small additions. It's
Okay.
between
Between Church and East Union there as well.
yeah, and that's a private road, so they basically would close the road
Right.
off the right, so they're getting in and out without construction equipment. Yeah, it's quite a project, especially trying to keep the people in the house while they're doing it. It's made it tough. But I'm sure they've been some mornings where they've gotten woken up to the guys, so that's what they're doing, so. We try
Thank
to
you,
work
Mark.
around the weather, it's been difficult, so. Anything else?
Anyone have anything else, Mark? Thank you, Mark.
Do you want me to stick around for anything, or you good?
No, we're all set.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Up next, village clerk treasurer Steve Morowski.
Nothing of importance, just going through the shout outs, unfortunately, similar numbers we had in the past. People in the water show, we had to do 24 hours in
Okay. First on my agenda is to consider authorizing sharing the 3 property assessment challenges. Right now, we have one from Speedway, we have one from the Newark Plaza LLC, and we have another one from Community Bank. We need 3 separate motions on these.
You could do them all together, that's fine.
Okay.
This is approximate cost associated with this?
None whatsoever.
Yeah.
Most of them have been, by the time we pay our shares, 300 to 500 apiece.
Okay, thank you.
So it's been relatively inexpensive, and this seems to be the trend lately. As you recall, we went through the assessment challenge from Walmart, and we made out pretty well on that challenge. So I would entertain a motion to approve sharing the costs with the town of Arcadia, Newark School District, and Wayne County on this assessment challenge. Motion, trustee Bendick, second. Trustee Blodgett, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. Up next, this is a yearly appointment for the Canandaigua Lake Watershed Commission. We need to appoint a commissioner and alternate commissioner. The commissioner would, my recommendation would be Mike Gonzalez, and the alternate would be myself.
Motion.
Motion, trustee Schober, second. Trustee Blodgett, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. Up next, we have training request from Mike Gonzalez, and Mike Bowens. It's attend the 2020 Finger Lakes Waterworks Council Annual Business Meeting on February 6th at Club 86 at $25 apiece. They attend 4 meetings a year for us on behalf of the Village of Newark at the Finger Lakes Waterworks Council.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion trustee Blodgett, second.
Second.
Trustee Bendix, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. The next is a request from John to have 3 of the guys from the wastewater treatment plant attend a training class on March 11th in Waterloo. The class is entitled Sludge Handling, $30 a person. Each person will receive 6 contact hours towards renewing their certification. So this is something that's necessary for their licenses and keeping them certified.
Motion to approve.
Motion trustee Vermeulen to approve, second trustee Schober. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. The next 4 items have to do with the wastewater treatment plant disinfection study that we received a $30,000 grant for today that we announced. As we've been notified by DEC several months ago that all wastewater treatment plants are gonna have to go to UV disinfection. Thankfully, the Village of Newark, when they went through their plant upgrade a few years ago, part of that plant upgrade, they basically put in the groundwork for this UV disinfection building that we're gonna have to build in place. So we wouldn't have to go back and retool everything and start over. Is that a fair assessment, John?
Yeah.
And so this grant for $30,000 from DEC and EFC is to pay for the engineering work to be done to prepare us for that. So you see the resolutions that have come with this grant before you. Should we do these resolutions separately? All right. So the first resolution is authorization for the representative to execute the grant agreement.
Motion to approve.
Motion trustee Bendix, second trustee Vermeulen. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The next is authorization, the next resolution is authorization and appropriation of local match, 20% share. So with this grant, we have to match 20% from the local municipality. And this is approving that we'll match that 20%.
The maximum local match will not
Yeah.
exceed 6,000.
In the maximum, yeah, and you'll see in the MRV's proposal that it'll be less than that. So that's the max, so we're approving the not to exceed number of 6,000 local match, although it's gonna be less than that.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion, trustee Blodgett, second. Trustee Schober, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. The next resolution is a secret determination type 2. And that's for this project, and there is, not, is, would determine it's not sort of subject to further review.
Motion.
Any questions? Motion, trustee Vermeulen, second.
Second.
Trustee Blodgett, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. You see, we have a proposal from MRB to do the engineering on this. MRB was the engineer who did the engineering on the plant upgrade. We worked with on several projects. You can see the total compensation for MRB is $24,900. I believe in there it spells out specifically our 20% match, which I believe is $4,900. Does anyone have any questions on the proposal from MRB on their scope of services for this project? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the engineering proposal from MRB for the wastewater treatment plant for $24,900. Motion trustees Bendix, second. Trustee Schober, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. The next item, we announced last week that we also received a $30,000 green infrastructure feasibility study and engineering grant from for Perkins Park. Part of this is to do with South Main Street. In South Main Street, we had to handle the what they call water quality volume. Being a federal road project, we had to reduce the impervious surface by 25%. And even though we narrowed the road and made several changes, added trees, some flower gardens and those types of things. We were only at 18% water quality volume, we needed to get to 25%. So part of that, the DEC is gonna allow us to make some infrastructure green changes in Perkins Park and to handle that water quality volume. And this grant will help us to engineer that project over the next year. That may include things like permeable pavement and some other things, some swales and things to handle any water or anything in there, hopefully help with some drainage issues in the park. Does anyone have any questions on accepting the grant for the green infrastructure feasibility study and planning in Perkins Park?
I think it'll make a lot of people happy.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Motion trustee Blodgett, second. Trustee Bendix, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. The next item, and is the quote for the firehouse doors. The walk-through doors have become rotted underneath along the bottom side. And I misplaced my copy of the doors.
So this is both east and west,
So the east and west doors. So the lowest proposal from Geneva Glass is $16,890. So that's both the doors at each end, including the side panels and everything that goes along with the doors. At this point, they're no longer energy efficient, and I guess Kevin could add to that, the issues they're having with the doors. Those also have the pass keys, that's not the correct term, to enter the fire department.
Yeah, the
Code.
access control.
Access control. So that's why there's a significant cost.
Now, Kevin, is there enough funds left in the budget to cover this expense for this fiscal year, or is this something that has to be done next fiscal year?
It should be enough.
We have,
Is there
we have about 17,000 left in the fire department's budget,
I would have to check.
and that would be my only concern, where the funds are coming from.
right?
I was told that was approved a year ago.
No, yeah, it was never approved. We were still, we're just getting the quotes now, so.
There was money that was approved through grants. And so the money was there, it was put into the fire department line item. When the year ends and they don't expend money, it goes to the trust fund line. So that's where the excess money went to. And so there probably is money between repairs to building, repairs to equipment to cover this, just have to move a little bit of money around.
Yeah, I have
If
plenty,
not,
plenty for that.
Okay, so there's funds in line items within the fire department's budget.
but when he said it was, funding was available, it was through grant money that was added previously.
Right.
This was previously put in the trust fund.
Okay.
Worst case scenario, we never do the $130,000 transfer till the end of the year, or $140.
Right.
If the budget was over 2,000, 3,000, you know, you recover it because you put in extra last year, that could be maybe
So we're good.
So, any further questions for Steve or Kevin on the door replacements? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve Geneva Glass as the lowest quote, lowest responsible quote at $16,890.
So moved.
Motion trustee Bendix, second trustee Blodgett. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. Next item I have is the surplus 16 high bay light fixtures in the DP that came out of the DPW room. Those were replaced with LED lighting by our own personnel, and we would probably surplus those at this point to probably scrap value. Motion trustee Remulin, second.
Second.
Trustee Blodgett, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. Item 16 is going to be tabled. We're not ready to approve the bids for the water treatment plant upgrade project this time. Next item is consider approving the 2020 street paving schedule. You can see that in front of you. Doug has proposing that we complete Wood Lane from Red Fox Lane to the corporate line. We recently paved from Pearson to Red Fox Lane with the completion of the sidewalk project. William Street from South Main to East Ave, Willow Ave from North Main to West Sherman, Kyler Street from East Union to Church Street, including the curbing. That desperately needs it. East Sherman Ave, North Main to Ford Street, North Main to Blackmar, and then we're not doing anything with the Parkway. And then patching Pearson Ave, Wood Lane to Party Smith, and Church Street, West Maple, West Ave to Pearson. So Doug is basically asking permission to go out and get bids on these projects, and then he'll come back to us when he has an idea of what will fit within our CHIPS funding from the state, which will be decided in the state budget. So we want to get out in front of this and get those estimates in.
And there's no priority, or prioritization given on this list?
So the top 6 streets would be the priority, and then Pearson Church and West Maple would be secondary, so it's based on numbers.
Just educate me. That stretch that says patching on Pearson Avenue, Wood Lane to Party Smith is horrendous. If you're going to Red Fox, the corporate line,
Yeah, so basically to the bus garage.
okay, so since we're in that general vicinity, why aren't we taking care of Wood Lane to Party? I mean, that's a horrible stretch.
Right. So he's gonna, so when he says patching, I'm assuming he's talking, we're gonna mill it and fill. We're not gonna do, we're talking 2 inches and not 4 inches.
Not just gonna be patching.
We're not talking about patching like go out
It's
filling holes.
That's in worse shape than East Sherman Avenue,
Could be,
and it's.
but we also have to remember the number of structures that are in place and everything else, and that's why we have to get numbers on it. If he comes back and you wanna do Pearson Ave over the rest, then we can certainly direct him to. But at this time, he's requesting to go out and get information on these streets.
So this is not a final to do, this is just to get.
No, yes, this is to, at this point, if there was a street on here you don't see and you wanted him to get numbers for, we could do that. But at this point, this is his recommendations, and then we also have to wait for the budget, because we don't know what that number is gonna be that we have available to CHIPS
Well,
funding,
I would
so.
just like to go on record to say that I would like to see that Pearson Avenue, Wood Lane, and Party Smith be a priority. That would be my
Okay.
Do we have any sense at all as to what they may be looking at with CHIPS funding and this sort of budget?
No, the state's looking at a $6 billion deficit, so who knows where they're gonna cut and where they're gonna negotiate and where we'll end up. I know last year they had to fight to get the winter recovery money added to it, which was a bump for us. You know, something like that could go away, you just don't know at this point. It's a guessing game. We'll all wait until April 1st to see if we have an on-time budget.
I know that Doug probably has a difficult job trying to prioritize all the streets in the village, and obviously I haven't been able to drive all the streets in the village, but one of the streets I drive a lot is the south end of East Avenue. You probably use some patching.
Yeah, East Avenue is gonna be challenging because that's gonna be much more extensive, and that's gonna be, from what I understand, the base under East Ave, the soil. Yep.
How do you know how soon you can attack that, because your CHIPS funding can only do it
Every 10 years.
The reason for that is
Because of the next thing,
Yep, and it's been less than 10 years since we did East
Yeah.
Ave, so those are other considerations too.
Okay.
In order to use CHIPS funding, you have to wait at least 10 years before you go back to a road to repave it, so we have to take that into consideration too. Pearson Ave is just getting to the 10-year mark, so, and unfortunately, it's such a long street, we're not gonna be able to do it all at once. Colton Ave, just as an example, Colton Ave cost us $250,000 to do that a couple of years ago, so it's not inexpensive to try to get as much paving done as possible. It's quite challenging, actually, so.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on the proposed roads? So I entertain a motion to accept going out and seeking quotes for the streets named here. And we'll also again, look at these numbers again for recommendations, as we get closer and which streets we're gonna actually do work on. Motion trustee Blodgett, second.
Second.
Trustee Bendix, any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? The next item for discussion is, whether we want to consider, insuring our new LED streetlights, as we now own the fixtures. We do not own the poles, but we own the fixtures. We recently had an accident in High Street, Scott Street, Scott High. That would be covered by the MDA accident, that would be covered by the driver of the vehicle. The question is, do we want to insure the rest of the lights? And you can see the cost for $483,000 worth of insurance. It would cost us $350 to $400 a year. But I believe as we look through the numbers, and Steve can confirm these after the deductible per pole and the cost, it's questionable whether it's worth the value of us insuring those lights.
Yeah, about the only time that this might be of any, I think it's $2,500 per incident. So, unless you have a horrific accident where somebody takes down 9 or 10 poles, or you have a straight line, microburst come through like Main Street, you take out 20 lights at one time. For most incidents, you get music is $2,500 deductible. But, with $350 to $400 a year, you want to provide protection for that maybe once in a lifetime event. Like 30 or 40 light poles, yeah.
How much a pole would it cost us out of our own pocket on insurance?
The light fixtures, lines, we're looking at probably about $250 to $300 piece. And then us putting them up there, depending on the people who work there.
We're capable of doing it.
Well,
Yes and no.
we can't do anything, the electrical connection work NYSEG has to do. At this point, we had a contractor put this light back up in an MBA. One thing I was reminded, is this deductible per pole or is it per incident?
So what Jim DeBurio was also saying, that I called on the chances of a multiple pole loss, probably slim to none, but for $300 or $400, you're covered for that microburst or whatever type of thing.
That's where I'm.
Seems like cheap money to me to get that.
You remember probably about 8 to 10 years ago, County Road 25, with some people call out that road, you know, they microburst that went through there, you know, right down that road. I don't know the weather that much, but these storms go through an open area because it's easy to pass the road.
Yeah, well, we're probably one ice storm away from making it worth having the insurance, I guess.
I mean, for a $6.2 million general fund budget, that's,
Right. It's probably not worth saving $400 a year.
So, motion.
Motion, trustee Vermillion to add insurance on the new streetlight fixtures, second. Trustee Bendix, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries.
and like the $350 a year we spend on the house insurance.
Yeah.
Right. Art, that's all I have for my open session. Art is unable to be here tonight with us. Up next, Police Chief Art Holmes.
Alrighty. Any questions on the reports sent out?
No, thank you for those, though, they're fascinating.
Busy.
Mhm. It always surprises me the time of day, too. I was expecting it to be a different time of day.
On the accident? The accident report?
Like in general, like, you know, number of calls, everything.
Okay, company training requests. Investigator Jay Warren has a request for, first one is video examinations for police investigative training put on by DCJS, DCJS, March 2nd and 3rd, up in the Newark County Public Safety Training Center. This is just another, I call it a technology course in regards to
video that he's obtained from all these cameras that are around nowadays, and he's enhancing them, using them for, whatever we may have come up, whether it's a crime, accident, and using that, hands-on process for examining, using that, knowledge. And where is the, it's in Monroe County?
Oh, okay, I see that.
The Public Safety Training Center. That's for, so let's, send them to that.
We can do one at a time.
There is no cost.
So they want to have any questions of Chief Combs on sending investigator warrants to the video examinations for a public investigator on March 2nd, 3rd? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve that
So
training.
moved.
Motion trustee Blodgett, second.
Second.
Trustee Vermillion, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
The second one is, again, investigator warrant, digital evidence and investigations, 5-day course put on by the National Computer Forensics Institute, which is also, he was selected by the Secret Service, who does a lot of work for, they work together. They helped us out with training, equipment. February 17th to the 21st in Newark, Alabama. They pay all the costs, getting there, getting back, meals, lodging. All you gotta do is get there and get this training. The training on this one, just make sure I have the right one. He ends up, this year, he ends up with another piece of equipment that he gets to use instead of, when he is using, extracting data from phones, electronic devices. It doesn't grab everything like the equipment that he does now. He's able to pinpoint what he's going after, whether it's photos, messages. A lot less time consuming, so plus he gets some equipment out of it also. So, February 17th to 21st in Cooler, Alabama.
Yeah, and investigator Ward also said that there will be no OT associated with this training.
Yep. We've done that.
Does anyone have any other questions of Chief about the training for investigator Ward or the equipment or anything?
Motion to approve the training?
Motion trustee Vermillion to approve this training for investigator Warren, second. Trustee Bendix, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That carries.
Next one, training request to attend interview and interrogation course, May 4th, May 8th. Again, Public Safety Training Center, Monroe County. Course, the tuition for this course is $366 plus $86 in fees. On that day, it's a great course for young officers to start out with, to understand the interview and interrogation process, and develop skills and assist them to do this type of work. This will help throughout his career. It is March 23rd through March 27th.
This is one of our newer officers, right?
Yes, yep.
Motion to approve both trainings?
Motion by trustee Vermillion, second.
Second.
Second trustee Blodgett. Does anyone have any questions or further discussion on the training for Officer Robertson? Hearing
I
none.
only discussed the interview and interrogation one in the, coming up during the spring. Finger Lakes puts on his second request there for, field training officer. They do that locally over at, Hopewell. And that's a lot closer, place by that. And we have discussed it with Officer Robertson, and he'd be willing to hold out and make training when we have it coming up in the spring.
Alright, so tonight we'll just approve for Officer Robertson, we'll just approve the training for the basic interview and interrogation, and we'll revisit the
Yes.
FTO training when that those dates, and that, of course, becomes available.
Amending my motion to reflect that.
Motion trustee Vermillion, second. Second, trustee Blodgett, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries.
Let's see, the third one is from Officer Jackson, who also do attend the interviewing irrigation class. At that time, I'd like to hold off on that one, because we don't have two people down there all at the same time.
Same dates, that's all.
Yes.
Go ahead. So we'll hold off on Officer Jacob Jackson's training request until that, of course, becomes available.
And some update, our new officer did start on January 17th. I'm estimated for the department, back down some uniforms and all that good stuff then, so he's now, working on with Officer Dan Wader, the field training officer, and his knowledge is already paid off for it. His and Officer Robertson, just kind of notified us on the 18th that they went to a call, they were dispatched to a call on Washington Street for a cardiac arrest. Officer Robertson and Officer Dürr responded, along with Officer Wager, and Officer Wager was impressed how Officer Dürr Robertson jumped right in with AED, chest compressions, taking care of the shocks from the AED, working through it. That's probably, I'm not sure which county carries his AEDs, but he's able to work himself through it. And the guy made it over to the hospital, and within a week still, so they did a great job keeping the guy alive and getting him to the hospital and assisting them with the transport. So,
For older guys like Bob and I, that's reassuring.
we're there for you.
Well, that's great to hear. That was the second day to the Newark PD officer.
Yep. Very impressive so far.
Well, that's fantastic.
Do we have the AEDs in our vehicles, or?
Yep.
Okay, each one?
Yep. Everybody on patrol takes that AED out, readily available to be put in service when any.
Good.
That's it.
Does anyone have any questions of Chief? Thank you, Chief. This time it's open for trustees. Trustees have anything?
Nope.
This time it's time for the public. If anyone would like to address the board, they can come up and state their name and address for the record, and have 3 minutes per topic. A lot of students in the room. If anybody has any questions, would like to come up and
I already asked Devin, he doesn't have any.
they're probably all right now thinking, why do we have to have midterms?
Yes.
So with that, I entertain a motion to go into executive session for, yeah, we will. Who's gonna get a motion?
Motion to go into.
Motion to go into executive
For-
session for personnel within the fire department, DPW, AECC, and potential real estate transactions.
Motion.
So moved.
Motion trustee Blodgett, second trustee Vermillion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? So you can, high school students, you can come up and get your sheet signed for your big hours, and